Yes, sir.
Thank you. This is presentation. This is application and the database. I gave you one statement. If you take any software, the application functionality and the data generated by using that software both resides differently. The application functionality means the application software will be residing at application layer, and the data generated by using that software means your business data, which is residing under database. But when it comes to SAP, the application functionality as well as the data generated by using that software, simply say a repository means programs, reports, screens, menu options, entire software. Only few of the application components resides outside of the database at application level, calling them as kernel. What is kernel? Kernel consists of .exe files and .dll files. What exactly this .exe files and .dll files? If you want to know this, wait for a minute. Yeah, we have softwares. How many types of softwares we have? We have two types of softwares. One is system software. Second one is application software. System software means the software which you directly install on the hardware. So when you purchase a laptop, the fresh laptop with a DOS, what software you install on that? Primarily the operating system, which talks with your hardware, right? So that operating systems are called as system software. In your phone, what is the operating system of your phones? Android, iOS, right? These are system softwares. Here, Windows operating system, Linux operating system, all these operating systems are called as system softwares. And the apps which you install on that, WhatsApp, Insta, this MS Office, whatever the applications you get from the App Store, those are called as application softwares. So softwares are two types. One is system software, second one is application software. So on the hardware, first we install system software. On the top of the system software, we install application software. Tell me, Windows 11 system software or application software?
System software.
System software.
Great. Red Hat Linux?
System software.
System software.
Mac OS?
System software.
System software.
MS Office?
Application software.
Application software.
WhatsApp?
Application
Application
software.
software.
Insta?
Instagram application software.
Great. Okay, fine. Now, what is this DLL files means? Whenever, for example, I am in Paint, right? DLL means a dynamic link library files. Dynamic link library files. I am in which software now? MS Paint is a system software or application software?
Application software.
Application software. So this application software don't have any link with the hardware, right? On the hardware you install system software. On the top of system software you install application software. I'm working in this application software and I said print. So how the printer knows that I given print? From here the request will go to from application software to system software. System software will tell the hardware to give the print. So to establish the connection between your system software and application software, this dynamic link library files are very essential. If you install any application software, you will get that .dll files. Can I show you that? Okay. Go to your C drive, program files. C drive. In that program files, okay, I have installed MS Office. MS Office is a application software, right? MS Office, okay, Office 12. See, .dll files. These are dynamic link library files. If these files are not there, if you give print, it won't go to the printer. Okay, I'll show another software. Let's take Format Factory. That is a video editing software. Okay, see, .dll files. Whatever the software, application software you install, that will have that .dll file, nitro PDF editor. Go there and check in that .dll file. See, so these are dynamic link library files which will establish the link between your application software and system software. If you don't have .dll files, if I give print here, the request will not go to your printer. Are you clear with this?
Yes, sir.
So what we are having at application layer. So entire software, your programs, reports, screens, menu options, everything is storing in the repository. But what we are having here means these kernel files and few configuration files. Only that we have at application layer. How this application layer is working. That is what today's topic, which is SAP's architecture. SAP architecture. So to understand this, so what is three-tier architecture, guys? So we'll be having three layers, right? This is presentation layer, this is application layer, and we'll be having another layer called database layer.
Database
Right?
layer.
Under database layer, what
Yes.
all the data we are having? Anyone, please? What data we are having in the database layer?
Business data.
Okay, fine. First, the database software will be there, right? Database, you can say repository. Database repository means database related programs, reports, screens, menu options, everything, right? And along with that, you'll be having business data.
Business data.
If you take any software, these two will be mandatory. But when it comes to SAP, we'll be having SAP repository. SAP repository, and you can say data dictionary. Data, what is data dictionary? We'll see. ABAP repository and data dictionary. Repository means, can anyone? Programs,
Menus,
reports,
screens,
screens, menu options,
Menu options.
even printer
Printers.
configuration settings, everything, all the software. I gave you example yesterday. If you take MS Office, only the .exe is saving here, and all entire programs, report screens of that Word, Excel, PowerPoint, everything is storing in the database. So what we are having here, kernel. So the beauty of three-tier architecture is what? If this application server is not sufficient to handle users' request, we can install
another application.
another application server. If this is not sufficient, you can install another application server. If this is not sufficient, you can install another application server, right? So 100 users will log in from here, another 100 from here, another 100 from here, right? I'm bad at painting, please forgive me. Okay, another 100 from here. So like this, all these application servers will be connecting to the same database. Means if you are having one SAP system, means one database will be there. And when it comes to application, this is all one layer. Which layer? Application layer. I'm just strengthening my application layer by adding extra hardware resources, extra application servers. That is what the beauty of three-tier architecture. Okay, is it clear? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, I'll give you another example. So who is feeling the burden here? Presentation layer or database layer or application layer? Actual burden.
Application layer.
Who is doing all the thing? Application layer is doing all the thing. Right, I'll give you one example. Fine. Okay, you went to the party. Okay, there is a bowl. In that bowl, you will be having biryani. You all 10 friends went to the party. 10 people. Okay, you went to dining hall. You all 10 people. Fine. And there is only one servant is there. This bowl is made for biryani, right? It holds biryani. Do it feel any burden? No. And you are requesting biryani to the servant. You are eating. Eating is a burden. Is there anyone who feels eating as a burden here?
No.
No.
Fine. So one servant is there, 10 people are there. Okay, fine. So you are asking this servant, same servant, he is going to that bowl and he is serving you. After some time, what happens? Few other 10 people added to your same party, same. Now who feels the burden? You? No. What happens with you? For you, the response time will be increased. You ask something, the same time this fellow asked for biryani. So he went to biryani bot and he served him and he come to you. So the response time is increasing here, right? And who is feeling the pressure here now? The guests are increasing. Who is feeling the burden? This server, this servant, right? So if I add another servant to the party, another 2 servants to the party, now what happens? The response time will be decreased, the performance will be increased, right?
Increases.
This is how your 3-tier architecture works. The burden on which layer? Your application layer. So what I am doing here means we are having additional application servers so that we are distributing the load on different application servers equally, so that the system is running smoothly. That is what the beauty of 3-tier architecture. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any doubt?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay.
Sir, in a two-tier architecture, in application also we can't extend the applications, right?
No, we can't extend the application. You can do scale up. This is scale out process. Scale out means you can add additional hardwares here. But in scale up process, within that system, you need to increase your RAM, you need to increase your hard disk, you need to increase your processor power. But your hardware will be having some restrictions. Your laptop can serve, you will be having, for example, 8 GB RAM. It will have only another slot of 8 GB. You cannot go beyond that, right? That is what happened with the 2-tier architecture. Is it clear?
Yeah, clear.
That is scale up. This is scale out process. Okay. Now how it works? See. So this is my presentation layer. How this application layer is working. This is my application layer. This is my database layer. In SAP, when you install your SAP system, by default, you will get 2 application servers. One is ASCS and the second one is PAS, primary application server. One is called as ASCS. What is that? ASCS, application server central services. Application server central services. Central services means the common services. Second one is called as primary application server, means first application server. If it is not sufficient to handle users request, then we can install another application server called additional application server. We can install additional application server. So if it is not sufficient, then we can install another additional application server, additional application server, additional application server. Like this, you can increase the strength of your application layer by adding extra application servers. That is the beauty of 3-tier architecture, right? So here we are getting 3 things. One is ASCS, second one is PAS, third one is AAS. AS means application server, primary application server, additional application server, central services means few common services. These two, here we are having 2 services. One is message server, one is message server, okay, and second one is Enqueue server, message server and Enqueue server. These two are common services, central services Even though you are having 100 application servers, for all you will be having only one message server, one Enqueue server. That is the reason these two services are included into ASCS. After that, first application server is called as primary application server. The second one is additional application server. Third one is additional application server. Next one is additional application server. Next one is additional application server. You can install 100 application servers. Everything is called as AS. The first two only ASCS and PAS. Application server central services, primary application server. What we have in ASCS means these two are central services, means if this requires message server, this will respond. If this application requires message server, this will respond. If this requires Enqueue server, this will respond. Means for entire SAP system, only one message server, only one Enqueue server. This both resides in which application server? ASCS. Remember this. If you are having message server and Enqueue server in one application server, that is called as ASCS, application server central services. The second, the immediate application server after ASCS is called as PAS, primary application server. In this, what we have? We have dispatcher, okay, and we have different types of work processes: dialog work process, background work process, update work process, and spool work process. 4 types of work process. What are they? Dialog, background, update, and spool. Different work process for different activities. We'll discuss all these things today. What is dispatcher? And we'll be having another service called as gateway. Another service as gateway. I'll show you that architecture actually. So the first, when you install your SAP system, you will get 2 instances. One is ASCS, second one is PAS. ASCS, PAS. If this is not sufficient, then we will install another additional application server. If you compare these two things, ASCS is different, completely different. It is having message server and Enqueue server. But when it comes to PAS and AS, these both are same. See, it is having dispatcher, and 4 types of work process: dialog, background, update, and spool. Dialog, background, update, and spool, and gateway. Right? These two are same. Actually, when you compare with old SAP's architecture, these two are combinedly called as central instance. This is a dialog instance. Next, dialog instance. But now SAP is segregated this central instance concept into 2 instances, ASCS and PAS. Previously, you used to have Enqueue, message server, dispatcher, gateway, all these things in central instance. From second application server onwards, they used to call it as dialog instance. But now they changed the naming convention as ASCS, PAS, AS. Means previously by default you used to get only one application server. Now by default you are getting 2 application servers. One is ASCS, second one is PAS. From third application server we used to call it as AAS, additional application server. So what exactly this message server? We are having how many types of work process? 4 types of work process: dialog, background work process, update work process, spool work process. And ASCS contains 2 services. What are they? Message server and Enqueue server. What exactly this message server will do? So how the login will happen? First I'll tell you that. If an end user logs into the system, when you are trying to log in into the system, so what happens first? See, the request will go to message server. From message server, the request will go to dispatcher. Whenever an end user logs into the system, the request goes to message server of ASCS instance. This message server will route that request to dispatcher. This dispatcher acts as a leader for all the work processes. Whenever a user requests for a login screen, the dispatcher will give dispatch the work to dialog work process. So this dialog work process is responsible for logins. Dialog work process is responsible for logins. Okay. Whenever an end user requested for a long running job means the job which is running for long time, for that we are having a special type of work process called as background work process. If a user requested for a background job, the request will comes to message server to dispatcher will give that work to dialog work process. If a end user requested for a update, insert, change, modify anything, if he want to change anything in the database, if you want to change anything, for example, new sales order is there, user record you need to update, product report you need to update, then the request will go to message server to dispatcher will give that work to update work process. And if a end user requested for a print, the request will go to message server to dispatcher will dispatch the work to spool work process for responsible for printing mechanism. So dialog is for logins, background is for long running jobs, update is for to change, modify, edit anything in the database, spool is for printing mechanism. Is it clear, guys? We will discuss this topic for 3 to 4 days. We will discuss each and every work process in detail. Just I am introducing the work processes and the services. Tomorrow we'll see in detail about all these things. Is it clear? When you are having one application server, this is the case. Now, from this additional application server, few users are logging from this application server also, right? Now this user wants to log in. How you do that? So first the request will go to message server. From message server, the request will go to this dispatcher. Here also we'll be having what? Dispatcher, right? We'll be having dispatcher. This dispatcher to this dialog work process, this background work process, this update work process, this pull work process. So what message server is doing here? Can anyone tell me what exactly message server is doing? This message server is used to exchange and regulate messages between the different application servers. Remember, message server only resides in central application server central services ASCS instance. Message server only resides in ASCS and it is used to exchange and regulate messages between the different application servers. Means it will get the information from different application servers. How I'll tell you. And message server also works as a load balancer. What this message server do? For every 300 seconds, it will inquires this application server's status and performance data for every 300 seconds, so that this message server knows which application server has load, how much load which application server has. So when, for example, now new user wants to log in, first the request goes to message server. This message server knows which application server is having the load, most load, and which application server is having less load and available resources. To that dispatcher, it will transfer the request to this application server is having less load. So what message server is doing here? Message server is working as a load balancer. How it is balancing the load? Means for every 300 seconds, this message server will inquire the status of this application servers and the performance data of this application server, so that this is up to date. What application server is having how much load, which application server having free resources. So whenever the user request comes to message server, this will analyze that which application server is having free resources. To that application server's dispatcher, it will forward the request. So this dispatcher it is forwarding. Why? This dispatcher is having some less load. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, for example, this application server is down. For example, this user, now this user is logged into which application server? This application. Why? This request comes to message server, from message server to dispatcher. Now, suddenly, this application server got down. This application server got down. So, this user will be disconnected. This user will be disconnected. What happens to all these users? Nothing will happen to these users. Why? These users are connected with different application servers. The only users who are connected with this application server will be goes down. Again, this user tries to log in. Now the request will go to message server. Now again, message server has up-to-date information that this knows this application server is down. So now it will again select one of the application server which is having less load. For example, this is having less load, then this request will goes to this application server. Why? This is not available. These three are busy, so this is having some less load. This is how the message server is balancing the load of your application server. It is used for load balancing. For example, if this message server is down, now the message server is down, what happens? The users who are logged into the different application servers have no impact. Only the new user who is trying to log in, this user now trying to log in into the system. So the request will come to message server. This is down, so he is unable to log in. This user unable to log in. Why? Message server is down. This is what about your message server. Is it clear, guys? Message server only resides in ASCS. It is used to exchange and regulate messages between the different application servers, and it is used for load balancing. For every 300 seconds, this message server queries the different application servers about their status and performance data on a regular basis for every 300 seconds. Like that, this knows the load on each and every application servers. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That means message server is down, totally the system is down, right?
No.
Nothing, no user is connected to the...
No, not like that. Already logged in users, they don't have any impact. The new users are unable to log in into the system.
Okay.
The message is going from message server only, na?
Already you
So
logged into the
how-
system, these work processes are allocated to you and they're serving you there. You will understand complete picture tomorrow.
Already existing
Okay.
users only, they are performing their task. Then
Task.
other
Okay, the
than
new
new
user
request
unable to log in
people
into
is
the
not.
system.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. You'll understand complete picture. Okay. Now again, what is this Enqueue server? Where we are having Enqueue server, guys? In which instance we are having Enqueue server? Excellent. In
Yes, yes.
ASCS. Okay. Can you please help me out? This is my ASCS. This is my PAS. This is my AS. And this is my AS. Right?
Yes.
Please write down once.
Yes.
Wait. This is my ASCS. This is my PAS. This is my
Yes.
AS.
Yeah.
This is my
Yes.
excellent. AS. Okay. What I am having here? What are the services? Message server and
Message server and
Message
server.
server and
Enqueue.
Enqueue server.
Here dispatcher, dialog,
background,
background,
Dialog,
update,
background,
spool,
Enqueue,
Spool.
update
and
sorry,
gateway.
spool.
gateway.
Gateway.
Excellent. Here
Gateway.
I am having message
Same,
server.
sir.
Message server?
No, sir.
No.
sir.
No.
Dispatch.
Okay, great.
Don't have.
Dispatcher.
We don't have message server. Right?
Dispatcher,
Dispatch.
Dispatcher. Okay. Dialog,
Dialog.
background,
dialog, background,
update,
update,
spool,
Update.
Update.
Spool. Gateway.
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 Here message server.
No, sir. Dispatcher.
No, no.
No, no.
Dispatcher, okay.
Dialogue.
Dialogue, background, update, spool,
Sports.
Enqueue,
Gateway.
Enqueue,
No.
Gateway.
no Enqueue,
No
okay, fine.
NQ. No NQ.
Okay, gateway, fine. Now, you know about message server, right? How this Enqueue will work?
Yes.
Enqueue is responsible for locking mechanism. So Enqueue server only resides in ASCS, right? Enqueue only resides in ASCS. Enqueue is used for the locking of objects. Locking of objects. Why I need to lock the object? First thing. For example, whenever I am trying to update, whenever update work process comes into picture, what this update will do? Edit, change, modify, create, all these things will do some changes in your database, right? So whenever I am trying to do any change in the database, Enqueue will comes into the picture and Enqueue will lock that particular object so that it will give you read and write authorization. At the same time, if I log in into the system and I'll try to do changes to same object, it will only give me the read authorization. So Enqueue is for locking mechanism. It will prevent deadlocks. What is the meaning of deadlock? For example, if you are booking a movie ticket, okay, you selected some 2 seats. At the same time, I selected the same 2 seats. I am entering some HDFC bank details. You are entering ICICI details. Whom should it give confirmation? So without Enqueue, there is no online shopping. Remember that. Enqueue will prevent deadlocks. I am waiting for you to log out. You are waiting for me to log out. That is what called as a deadlock scenario. So this Enqueue will prevent a deadlock scenario. Who logs in first? Who selected that as a edit? For that user, it will give you read and write authorization. For all other people, it will only give read authorizations. Can I show you practically? Can I show you
Yes, sir.
practically?
Sure, sir.
Yeah, fine.
Yes,
Okay. Book my show. Who is coming to movie with me today? I'm going to book tickets for you now. Which movie this? Yeah, Article 370. I'll try to book my ticket. Okay, which theater? I will repeat, 10 p.m. Are you guys ready? Who is coming? I'm going to book a ticket.
All are coming, sir.
All are coming. Okay, I'll book 3 tickets from my side. Okay. Okay. Select. Okay, this one. I'll copy this same. Select seats. Okay. Okay. Arrow. Okay. 3 seats I have selected. Okay. Pay. Accept. Fine. Now go to same theater, na? 10 p.m. 3 tickets. See, it is locked. These 3 seats are locked. I can see this as a booking status, but for you, you can process the payment, right? Why you logged in first there? You logged in first there. You can process the payment, but sorry, it is not showing. Are you able to see this?
Yes, sir.
So it
Sir,
is
done.
called as a Enqueue mechanism. Without Enqueue, you cannot do any online shopping. You cannot do any online shopping. The Enqueue is for locking mechanism. So for the first person, it will show you read and write authorization. For the second one, who selected that, only he can see that, who can read that. That is what Enqueue. So what this Enqueue will do, Enqueue will maintain a table in the memory of the ASCS instance. In this instance, in the memory RAM, it will create a lock table. So that lock table will be updated. I have put lock on this, that. So whenever, if any of the instance, from any instance, if you want to update anything, first it will come to this table. It will check whether that table has lock on that or not. If there is lock, it will be in readable state. If there is no lock, then the new lock will be created. That is what Enqueue. And one Enqueue service is enough for whole SAP system. Whenever I say whole SAP system, even though you are having 100 application servers, that all comes under one SAP system. For one SAP system, only one database I am having, right? I am not installing a new SAP systems here. Remember, boss, only I am strengthening my application layer by adding extra hardware resources. What exactly this, why I am going with this application server? When this application server is not able to handle users request, what is the scenario? Anyone tell me? When I go to another additional application server,
so more number of customers are there, so at that time I'm going through the application.
Excellent. For example, I'm having some 16 GB RAM here for this server, 16 GB RAM and 8 core CPU. 8 cores means 8 CPUs are there. For example, it is giving me some 500 processes. Okay, this 500 processes I cannot accommodate for SAP. This server, first I need to install some operating system. By default, your operating system is taking nearly 100 processes. See, background process, see, 120 processes it is taking. So out of 500 for operating system kind of thing, it is taking nearly 120 process. After all, I have started some other 8 applications on that. Okay, 120 processes gone. Remaining 380 processes are there. From this 380 processes, I can serve some like 1000 users. Let's take an example, small example. So after reaching 1000 users, this application server is unable to handle users request. So that means what? Unable to handle users request means your RAM and processor are not sufficient. If you go there, your CPU utilization will be 100%, your memory will be 100% utilized. That means this system is gone. The resources are dried up. Now I am taking another hardware, another server, another mission means another server means I am taking extra RAM. With the new server, I'll get extra hardware resources like RAM, processor. Here I'll go with 32 GB RAM and 16 core processor for this. Now this also needs operating system to be installed and some third-party applications, and this will give me some 2000 users, service for 2000 users. After reaching this hardware also not sufficient to handle my users request. Now my system is able to handle 1000 requests at a time, this 2000 and this 1000. Now I'll go with additional application server. Additional application server means simply I am adding extra hardware resources. I cannot give RAM and processor in the air. So I am taking a server setup here. So in that I am getting extra hardware resources. So all are these what? Dispatcher is one service, one process, gateway one process, dialer one process, background one process. All are processes only. Who is giving these processes? Your CPU. Each and every process needs what? Memory also. For example, this process is there. This needs some memory. Who is giving this memory to you? Your RAM. So the combination of your CPU and memory should be sufficient. Then only you can give service to your users. So I am just, the beauty of 3-tier architecture is I am strengthening my application layer by adding extra hardware resources. That's it. I'm not installing a new SAP system. If I install a new SAP system means I should install a new database. I should install a new software into that. My software is there. It's there only. My software is here itself. My business data is here. Just I am strengthening my application layer by adding extra hardware resources. That is what your additional application servers. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
So how many SAP systems I have in this image?
Only one.
Yes. Excellent. Who is that?
Venkatesh.
Oh, great. Only one SAP system. Okay, now tell me how many SAP systems I have here. Oh, sorry. How many SAP systems I have here?
3.
3 SAP systems, right? 3 SAP systems. Oh, okay, this one box means that there is ASCS and PS. By default, you'll get 2 instances, no? ASCS and PS, ASCS and a PAS, ASCS and a PAS and AS.
Additional pay server.
So how many SAP systems I have?
3.
3. Excellent. Right. So this is all about your architecture. So what is message server? Message server is only residing in your ASCS, and it is responsible for communication between your application to application, application to database. And message server frequently, for every 300 seconds, it is taking the performance data and server status for every 300 seconds. By that, it is knowing which application server is having how much load. Based on that, whenever the user request comes, it will forward the request to appropriate dispatcher. The Enqueue is for locking mechanism. It prevents deadlocks. Whenever update comes into picture, Enqueue work process will comes into picture. It will lock particular object. Only one Enqueue work process, one message server is enough for whole SAP system. These two are common for this application, and this application. Whatever, how many application servers you have? For all, only one message server and one Enqueue server. If this message server is down, no new user able to log in into the system. Already logged in users, no impact on that users. Okay. And what about this dispatcher? What about this dispatcher? Dispatcher, we find dispatcher in all application servers. We find dispatcher in all application servers. Dispatcher, the name itself, it is suggesting it is a dispatcher. It is dispatching the work to appropriate work process. We are having 4 types of work process: dialog work process, background work process, update work process, and spool work process. This dispatcher will dispatch the work to appropriate work process. If the user login request comes, the dispatcher will give that work to dialog work process. If the long running job comes, then dispatcher will dispatch the work to background work process. And if you say any insert, update, modify, change, then the dispatcher will give that work to update work process. And if the user gives print request, then dispatcher will dispatch the work to spool work process. So actually, all our work process are same, but when it comes to SAP, they are behaving like different. Internally, the executable file for this all, even for dispatcher, dialog, background, update, spool, there is one executable file called as disp plus work.exe. Tomorrow we are going to discuss that. And what about this gateway? Gateway we can see in all application servers. See, PAS, AS. In ASCS we don't have gateway. In PAS and AS will be having gateway. Gateway is responsible for communication between SAP to SAP, SAP to non-SAP. For example, if you want to connect with SAP system, this is one SAP system is there, right? If you want to connect with another SAP system, gateway is responsible. If you want to connect with non-SAP system, gateway is responsible. I'll show you one. This is my SAP system, okay? This is my SAP system. If I want to connect with another SAP system, then gateway is responsible. For this is one SAP system, this is another SAP system. 2 are different SAP systems. To connect with SAP to SAP to, for example, if I am having some non-SAP system here, ABAP system, some Java system, some R2 system is there, some CBL system is there. If you want to connect with that system, gateway is responsible. So we'll see each and every work process, each and every thing about message server, Enqueue, everything we'll see tomorrow in detail. Any doubts?
No, sir.
So, like application server and database server, we understand, sir. But how about the presentation layer? Without any, we don't manage like maintain any server, didn't maintain anything. Then how do we connect with the? How do we
Yeah,
maintain the presentation layer?
yeah, great. Good question. Okay, fine. Okay. I'm having this GUI. SAP is having GUI concept, graphical user interface. SAP is providing one tool for end users to connect to your servers. For example, let's take my servers are installed in somewhere else in USA. I'm working from here, from my home. I only have this SAP logon pad with me. Okay, if you open that, all the system servers will be configured here. All the servers will be configured here. So if you double click on that, it will take you to that application server and it will give you the login screen. How it is giving, that is what your question, right? So if you go here, when I am doing that configuration, I have given that name and that SID, system ID, and that instance number and the IP address of that instance. Like this, we are connecting to that application server. You will come to know how we do that, all these things, this very early stage. So we are giving the address, IP address here. So through the network, it is connecting there and it is connecting to this SID. What is SID? We'll discuss tomorrow. And instance number. After tomorrow's class, you will understand what all this SID, instance number, application server ID, everything. Okay, this is somewhat too early, but good question. So by using GUI, we are going to connect.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm stopping here. So we discussed so many new things. To understand these things, I'm giving somewhat time to you, and please go through the class one more time. Then we'll discuss each and every work process and message server, Enqueue, each and every service in detail tomorrow. Can I wind up the session? Anyone wants to ask anything?
Jahangeer, I just have
No,
something
sir.
to say.
Thank you.
Yeah, Vijay.
Yeah, hi, how are you, Jahangeer? So, yeah, it's a very informative session. My God, I learned a lot from here. Just for everyone to know, team, I've been in SAP basis for over 7 years now, and Jahangeer, your sessions are amazing. The amount of stuff that you go in detail and specifically explain in
Thank you,
detail
Vijay.
is amazing. Yeah,
Actually,
I'm still learning. It's crazy how much I thought I knew, but attending your sessions, it's like an eye opener. Even being in basis for so long and doing this, it's very important to understand the concepts. A lot of times, you know, the subjects that you talk about, deadlocks and all that, just to understand where to check the deadlocks and queue and all that is very important. And the concepts are very important to understand. So, yeah, it's very informative classes. Thank you so much for that. Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, Vijay, you want to say anything to these freshers guys who are aspiring for SPAP?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very good career. Like, I mean, I've been in SAP for about 6, 7 years now. I've been working for entity data. It's really a good career. Lot to learn. You got to keep learning, and you know, it's very easy to forget. When I started SAP, I didn't have someone like him to explain to me in detail. I just kind of had a very basic course and I read books, but you don't get the same concepts like how Jahangeer explains. It's very in depth. He really gives you very good examples, and that's the most important thing. It took me about 2 years to kind of get my brain and understand the basics of SAP, even though I was working in there. But you guys actually have a very good start in him explaining this to you guys. But yeah, I mean, S4 is the way to go. HANA is the way to go. Everybody's looking for that. So really, really good class, and I can't say enough. I've been attending these classes for a while, and it's always good to refresh on your skills every few years.
Yeah, Vijay,
Thanks.
thank you so much for your inspiring words.
No problem. Always.
Keep
I'll always
motivating
try
us.
to.
Keep motivating us.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And all you guys are lucky to have his class. Believe me, he's been really a good instructor. His videos in YouTube are amazing too.
Thank
You'll
you.
see like how many views he has. It's just very. A lot of people in my field look up to him. So yeah, really good instructor to have. And I'm glad I'm part of your class too. It's really good. Thank you.
Okay, Vijay. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, guys, that's it from my end. Thank you so much, all.